Hey, friends and fam, I'm Nathan. Thanks for being here. I want to share a little self reflection on a moment that honestly happened like about a month ago where I don't feel like I acted true to myself in context of that moment. And I have been reflecting on it for about a month. And it's interesting as I say that because as I even say, I don't feel like I acted true to myself. I'm going to almost kind of counter that and say, well, I guess it was true to myself in context of the moment because it was true because it's what was or what is. It is what was. I can't change what was. And I feel like it's a mere moment that I created for myself to learn from or just be with. Really, just be with. And I'm going to share my being with this reflection on a moment that how I acted at that moment as I notice how I acted or what I said doesn't totally feel right. Or it Okay, stop tripping over I keep tripping over my mind, my brain, my thoughts. Main point is, so I'm at work, right? And me and a coworker are walking through the stairwell at the office, and we walk past someone in the stairwell who had a lot of perfume. And my coworker, when we got back to his office, made a statement around what's wrong with people, because he was making a comment about the person who had a lot of perfume. And I'm going to be real. I'm as I'm saying this, I guess I'm using that as a reflection. I'm actually moving more and more away around polarized descriptive words. Um, right? But I'm just this is all just noticing programs, algorithms, stories that I'm living, and I'm sharing my noticing. Is As I share my noticing, I'm using these words in context of the story to share my noticing, right? And in the context of the moment when he said, "What's wrong with people?" as when he was referring to this person who's walking down the stairwell with a lot of perfume, and I love this person dearly, that my coworker, you know, and I don't feel like he was saying this like in a malicious way. He was just kind of like, "Whoa, lots of perfume," and I honestly, as in response, I didn't notice it, but in response to what he said, I was like, "Oh yeah, it was a lot of perfume," because it was. And in my past, I've sometimes had some aversions to perfume smells, especially really, really strong perfume smells. Haven't been a big fan of that in my past, I'll be honest. And but I noticed myself like going down the path in that moment of agreeing with his statement around. I did notice like the "what's wrong with people" statement, and I was like, well, I don't really feel that vibe of what's wrong with people, because first of all, I don't know what is wrong with people. I'm people, you're people, we're all people. What's wrong with us? Oh my God, what's wrong with us people? I don't know. So, but in the context of that, I didn't, like sometimes I'm like, God, should I have like, I didn't really, sometimes I'm like, I question to myself sometimes around not speaking what's true to me or what feels true to myself. And what I did, instead of kind of being like, I don't know, there's really nothing wrong with people, or I don't really, I'm not feeling that vibe. Um, I jumped in with yeah, I'm not a big fan of lots of perfume either, and blah blah. I feel like I jumped into a program. I jumped into a story that was resonant for the other person that I was with in the room. But then noticing myself go into that story, didn't that's a story that in the moment I noticed didn't feel right to me. I still did the story, right? And it's interesting to me, like, and so yes, it's a moment that been contemplating for about a month, I believe. Right? This is um, excuse me. It's just I guess it's fascinating to me, the descriptors, the descriptions, the describing words we use in our social conversations. And I'm noticing more and more the energy that those descriptions activate in the context of these interactions with others in our lives, and the beliefs that they reinforce. And oftentimes when I'm going to describe them as false beliefs. I mean, the stories, the programs. I really do feel like the energy of program. A lot of our lives are programmed, and I really do vibe with more deprogramming energy, like really, really experiencing the noticing, seeing myself in context of the stories that are around me or the stories I'm living, and then noticing the algorithms, the programming, and kind of looking to tweak all those programs, or change the programs, or honestly completely step away from the programs or stories. And every context is different, right? Every story is different, every program is different, every algorithm is different. But when I do a moment that I look back and I'm like, oh, that wasn't really true to me, it didn't feel true to me, I do reflect on it. And there's an act of grace, an act of forgiveness, forgiving myself, honestly, for maybe even judging myself, for really judging myself for not, speaking what feels like more my full truth at the time, right? Because really, I don't feel that vibe, or as far as like, I don't feel the vibe of what's wrong with people vibe. It's not really, I don't really do those broad, or I guess when I say I don't do that, I don't know, maybe I do, but I choose to ask myself to practice being present in those moments, and act upon that presence. I am asking myself to take a moment, breathe in that moment. Because sometimes those conversations flow so quick, and I jump into my automatic responses that are programmed in me so quickly. I don't give myself the moment to pause and be like, oh, wait a minute, you know what? Like, I understand the vibe of what you're saying here, my dear friend, around what's wrong with people and why would someone wear so much perfume and whatever. Like, I understand from the experiential, like I've experienced that energy and that opinion, that judgment myself many times. I mean, definitely many times I've experienced that, my own versions of that. But I'm noticing in this moment, my dear friend, that I'm not vibing with the energy of what's wrong with people statements, and not really vibing with the energy of how dare that person wear the perfume they want to wear. Because really, I don't care. I feel like anyone should wear whatever they want to wear. It doesn't, not. So, yeah, noticing. I guess that's the key point. That I guess I'm noticing my noticing, and I'm asking myself to give myself permission in those moments of my noticings to pause. To pause in that moment and allow myself to not jump into the auto responses, the auto, oh yeah, type energy, because it's so easy to go into our automatic mode in those especially social moments like that, where it's so easy to jump into those programs collectively together. And then we're both in a program, all of a sudden everybody in the room ends up in a program that maybe they wouldn't even be in individually, but since we're all in that room, there's a weird vibe energy that just, like a bandwagon vibe, I don't know, that happens, that I'm really giving myself permission to pause on those awareness moments of the noticings. That's all. Love you. Have a great evening, or great day, or great morning, whatever it is where you are.